Haunted house decor has been such a big trend this year that I'm seeing on Pottery Barn's website. So I wanted to try to give you guys a DIY you could do to recreate that look. So when I was shopping the last time at Dollar Tree, I came across these wood houses and I thought, okay, let's try that with this DIY. So you're gonna need 3 houses. You're also going to need a wood board. This was another item I picked up at Dollar Tree. I'm gonna take them outside and I want to spray paint all of these pieces on the front and back side with a black spray paint. Once they're completely spray painted, you can bring them in, and next we're going to use some puff paint. Now last year I did a Christmas DIY where I added puff paint to make a gingerbread house, and it was super cute. It turned out really well. So I thought, what if we tried to do that same look with the white puff paint for our haunted houses? So I wasn't sure exactly how these were gonna turn out, but I wanted them to all look different. So on one of my first houses, I added the puff paint around the windows, and I thought that looked pretty good. I also added in like some dots to the bottom of the houses. I added in some webs. I tried creating a spider. Now none of these looked perfect, but I feel like with haunted houses, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just have fun with it, and then add as much or as little as you like. Let your puff paint dry completely. The next day I came back and I used hot glue to attach the houses to my wood board. And I'm gonna set them up in my living room, and I'll add a Dollar Tree tea light to the back, and here's how it turned out. An easy way that you can refresh your home for the fall is to change out the covers on your pillows. You can do that rather inexpensively by buying items on Amazon. Now, I love a high-end look, but I don't like a high-end price. And I found these Pottery Barn pillows. They were gorgeous, but I wasn't gonna spend that money. So I found something so similar on Amazon. They're perfect. I'm just going to switch out my pillows and put them in these pillow covers, and you would never know that they were an inexpensive dupe. Now, if you love inexpensive dupes from Amazon, you want to be following me on Liz Fenwick Deals. I have an Instagram called Liz Fenwick Deals where I show you all the best Amazon deals every day. You can follow me there, or if you're on Facebook, you could also join our Facebook group, Liz Fenwick Deals. I post all the same great Amazon dupes there. So I had this pot of leftover hydrangeas from the spring, and I really wanted to try to incorporate them into my fall decor. And if you look on Pottery Barn's website, they have these muted hydrangeas that look dried, and they're so pretty. So that was the look that I was going to try to recreate. I went into my spray paints and I pulled out 4 different colors. I wanted like a base brown color. I also had my sea glass red color. I had a cream color, and then one of my stone finishes. And I took them outside, started with that brown color, putting it all over the flowers. I added in some of the sea glass. I added sparingly the white. Now, if you put too much white, don't worry, you can always go over it with another color. That's what I love about doing this. You can always layer the colors. And I added in some of that stone color as well. Now, I did make a mistake after these dried. I pulled these out of the pot, and you could see so much of the blue flowers. So I actually had to take them back outside and spray paint them again. So I guess I probably wouldn't have left them in the pot. So if you have one of these pots, just pull them out and spray paint them from the start, and it'll be fine. But these look great. I just put them in a vase that I had from over the summer. It really just dresses up my house, makes it ready for fall, and I can save money on fall florals because I spray painted them myself. Now, this vase was one that I made earlier this year from a Dollar General vase. Now, with your florals, don't be concerned about completely covering them. Honestly, it looks good if some of the blue is still on your florals. Last year, one of the most popular items they had out at Dollar Tree were these moss pumpkins, and they've come back this year, and if you see them, pick them up. They look so great in floral arrangements, but I wanted to show you another option for these pumpkins. If you shopped at Dollar Tree, you know they have these domes. They've had them out for years. That's what I'm gonna be using in this fall DIY. Now, the black bases I did want to change, so I spray painted those with the color Sand Dollar. I also ended up adding the stone texture because when I was adding the stone texture to that wood piece that I told you about at the beginning of the DIYs, I got a little bit on these. So I said, you know what, we'll just stone texture these as well. And it ended up looking okay, but that wasn't my plan from the start. Cut off the stems at the bottom so they were just this really cute moss pumpkin. I just put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of these moss pumpkins. Placed them on the cream bases, and then I added the domes on top. 3 of these together look so great sitting out. I could see them on your dining room table or sitting out in your decor. One of the hot new items right now at Dollar Tree are these bamboo organizers. Now, these would look great sitting out in your decor, or you could use them for smaller items in your bathroom or in your closet. Let me show you how to recreate this look with Dollar Tree items. So you're going to need to pick up this clear bowl for just $1.25. You're gonna use a white spray paint to spray paint the underside, and then you're gonna spray paint the top portion. Once that's dry, you're gonna fill it with these Dollar Tree faux pears, but the Dollar Tree pears are a little bit bright and don't necessarily match the ones they have on Pottery Barn's website. So I'm gonna be using a couple of my acrylic paints. I got a yellow mustard color, and then I also went with this brown color. I felt like the best way to apply this paint would be with a stippling brush. So I'm gonna place the 2 colors out on my tray, and I'm just gonna mix them together and dab the paint all over my pears. Now I started at the bottom, working my way up to the top, and you really want to mix and combine those colors. If you feel like you need a little bit more brown or a little bit more yellow, just kind of adjust the colors until you're happy with it. Let these dry overnight, and then you can add them to your bowl. I ended up going with 4 of the pears. What do you think? Was I able to recreate this Pottery Barn bowl? So the next DIY I wanted to try to recreate was this candle holder that I found on Pottery Barn's website. And it looks pretty simple. Like, this would be an easy project to recreate, right? You just get some candle holders at Dollar Tree, some bases and candles, and it should work out. Well, it didn't go exactly as planned. So I had these silver candles. I actually had these in my craft room from last year, but you could probably find something similar at Dollar Tree. That's what I'm gonna be using because I needed a more chunky candle holder. I'm gonna be using this ready-made stucco material that I had. I used it on some planters over the summer. So I added that to a bowl. I added a little bit of water, but then I thought I'm gonna tint this and make this like a really cool color. Well, I wanted it to look like wood, so I added in stain, and that pretty much did nothing. And I feel like that the oil base just did not mix with my stucco, so it really provided no color. So then my next thought was, okay, I'll add in some paint. So I added in a brown paint, and as you can see in this bowl, it looks purple. And I kept adding in colors, but it just kept looking purple. I was like, I do not want this to look purple. What do I do? So then I Googled what to do, and it told me that to counteract and neutralize purple, you want to add in its opposite, which would be yellow. So I tried doing that, and it did kind of neutralize it, honestly. I felt like it did kind of like tone down some of that purple. I wasn't gonna give up on it. I just kind of added a little bit more paint. I added in some black, and then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go with it because this stucco material is gonna give me texture, and I can always add additional paint. So I started just adding the stucco material to the outside of this container, and it does give it like this really great rough texture. If you've never used this product, it's also great on planters, or I could even see it on some wall art. So I put it all over my candle holders, and I let them sit and dry overnight. The next day I came back and I thought, okay, I gotta paint these. So I found like some brown colors, I found some white. Those were pretty much the colors that I used. I wanted to tone these down with water. So using a paper towel and some water, I just added these colors to my candle holders, dabbing them. I went on with the brown, I went on with the white, and in the end, I was happy with the color, but I feel like it took me a while to kind of get that color I was going for. From there, once those were dry, I added on the glass containers with some E6000 and then put in some Dollar Tree red candles. So this DIY was a little bit harder to do. It definitely doesn't look like the picture inspiration, but I think it turned out pretty good. Hey guys, I'm Liz and you're watching my second DIY channel where I post daily DIY videos. You may be familiar with my main channel, Liz Fenwick DIY, but I'm glad that you found me over here on my second channel. Make sure that you're subscribed so you just get notified every day when I post our daily DIY video.